Okay, so this is a big one. Now, I've been using my very first Apple iPad Pro for almost a week now, and let's talk about it. Alright, so this tablet was released last March, but it is indeed the current running version of the iPad Pro lineup. So I decided to pick up one. Not necessarily because it's one of the most popular devices out there, but more so because I want to be able to experience a high productivity level of work on iPad OS. Now, I went for the 11-inch model, and of course this is the second generation. As I mentioned, it was released last year, so this is the second gen. I also bumped up that storage to 256 gigs. And as you may know already, I do own and I have reviewed quite a few tablets on the channel here, including iPads, budget and also mid-range, but never quite a productivity iPad, never quite the Pro. So why don't we do what we usually do? Why don't we start with the design of this baby here? That way we'll be doing more of a comprehensive review, starting with one of the most appreciated designs in the iPad lineup, which is probably the reason why the new iPad Air actually borrowed that same design, which, by the way, I did review, so make sure to check out that video after watching this video. So it's a very sleek looking tablet with that uniform bezel around the face that you see here. It's pretty wide, but at the same time, it actually feels lighter than it looks, at least to me. And quick highlight on some of the physical features found on this tablet, starting off with that camera system, right? That camera module is just one of the most recognizable camera systems that you would find on the tablet, either on the tablet or even on the phone, right? So when you see that, you already know what brand that is. So it contains a 12 megapixel wide and a 10 megapixel ultra wide sensor, and Apple's LiDAR scanner is right on there. And on the front, you have that selfie camera with Face ID sensors and all of that good stuff. The next thing here is, of course, the quad speaker setup. And I'm a huge fan of this type of setup when you have speakers, firing on both sides of the tablet. Also, I like what Apple is doing. I did say that during my review of the iPad Air 4. I like what Apple is doing here with the USB Type-C there. It looks like they may be slowly trying to standardize some things. I could be wrong, but either way, it's nice to see Apple make that adjustment. I doubt that Apple is going to go ahead and standardize, the other ports on the other devices, but either way, let's go ahead and talk specs and also performance. So talking about the productivity level that this device can offer you. That's kind of what it is known for. And before we jump in, if this is your first time to the channel, welcome. Of course, if you do like the content so far, I truly appreciate that. Please do me a huge favor and hit both the like and the subscribe button there. It's a tremendous help to this channel here, and it really gives me the boost that I need to push more of these videos. All right, so let's talk specs and performance here. So this guy is loaded with the Apple A14 Bionic, which is a very powerful chipset. Very, very powerful. We also have 6 gigs of RAM here, so you're a little bit more comfortable using, multiple large files or large apps at the same time. It has iPad OS 14.2 sitting on here, and of course with many more years of software support. This is a true powerhouse. It's pushing an 8-core GPU, and as you would imagine, it's just so excellent for graphic intensive projects or graphic intensive gaming. Although I don't know what the deal is with Call of Duty. For some reason, you just can't set the settings to the highest. Even though we all know that this machine can handle it, I'm just not sure why. It does play well though. In fact, the games that I have played here have worked perfectly. The iPad Pro so far is really proving to be a productivity beast, right? So there shouldn't be any doubt there. I mean, you've heard all the praises, all of the hype. It does just that. So when Apple built this guy here, they had the word computer in mind, or laptop. They tried to get as close as possible when building this thing, to a laptop. So when you snap in that Magic Keyboard and you get, either just the Magic Keyboard 2 or the actual Magic Keyboard made for a tablet, and you start using this thing, that's when you realize that you can really push this thing far. It shows flawless performance with day-to-day tasks, handles everything, including very aggressive multitasking with no issues. And it does all of that in a very snappy yet very smooth way at the same time. And as I mentioned the GPU specs earlier, I want to highlight the fact that even though the iPad 4 has a faster processor, the 6 gigs of RAM along with the 8-core GPU on the older generation chipset found on here is what you need when you're dealing with, like, heavy files, or you're doing, heavy video editing. That's what you would need this iPad for. The Apple ecosystem is praised for its stability and for offering a flawless level of continuity and great user experience, partially because of its different yet very focused operating systems, right? So if you think about it, the iPad OS was designed for iPad, so you can see that it's very focused to just work on tablet and to do so very well. Couple that with apps that are optimized in an environment that's also very optimized, and that's really just going to push out a great experience, which is what happens when using this iPad. Now, that doesn't matter much for, like, smaller apps and things that don't necessarily need to be optimized for usage on the iPad. But when we talking, productivity apps, I have found iPad OS to be very special in that category, and not only the way the apps actually works, but the choices that are available. Think of something like Photoshop, for example, right? It's available on that platform, along with the fact that Adobe has supported many of its apps in that, in iPad OS. Now, let's talk display. What you are looking at here is a very bright IPS display clocked in at up to 600 nits. It's a very nice screen, high color accuracy, and images look very, very sharp. Another big thing that this display has going for it is the fact that you have that Apple ProMotion technology, that pushes that adaptive refresh rate at up to 120 Hertz. So everything is super smooth on here, anywhere from scrolling to the way videos play. 1668 by 2388 for the resolution here, and although it is not an AMOLED display, it does have very well pronounced color. It's been just excellent for entertainment, so gaming and watching movie is very, very nice on here. Back to the camera, as I mentioned earlier, you get that 12 megapixel wide and a 10 megapixel ultra wide, along with Apple's LiDAR scanner there, which is supposed to play a role in AR settings. Now, I personally won't use it to that extent, but it's there if you need it. The camera records 4K at 24, 30, and 60 frames per second, and 1080p at 30, 60, 120, and 240 frames per second. Picture quality is actually pretty good. You also get that 7 megapixel camera on the front there, so that selfie camera is not bad either. Battery has been okay, but you got to remember, I've been using this for less than a week, so the assumption here is that it's been adapting to the way, to my usage. So based off the usage, your battery life experience is likely to be different from mine depending on how you use it. Bottom line is this: Apple advertises 10 hours of playback time, and I'm pretty sure you can hit that if you set, you put the settings right. Now, just like the iPad Air 4, this is of course compatible with the improved Apple Pencil 2nd generation. So no need to buy a new one, since we already have one here in the house that we use with the iPad Air 4. A device like this one is where the Apple Pencil shines, right? It's very responsive, it's accurate. Now, I haven't changed my mind about the fact that it still taps, but it works very well with this tablet. Either way, it's a very well optimized pencil with new added features to increase productivity. So it's a good match for an already very powerful tablet in an environment where most things are optimized to blend in nicely. I don't remember if I've said this already, but you can connect the regular Magic Keyboard 2, the mouse 2, and also the pad 2 to this tablet. So if you have that combo along with this pencil, you're pretty much set. Overall, my experience has been great so far. I'm no stranger to productivity tablets. I've used quite a few of them, on the Android side and kind of on the iPad side, with the iPad Air 4, which is now more of a productivity tablet. Still kind of a mid-range, but leaning more productivity tablet. But anyways, so I'm no stranger to productivity tablet, and I had my idea of what to expect from this tablet, and it has exceeded those expectations. It has very impressive specs, even for a chipset that is no longer the current fastest on the Apple ecosystem. But the overall, meaning the chipset, along with all of the other impressive specs of this baby right here, make it just a fantastic device, right? There are just so many more things to try with this tablet here, and I'm gonna make sure that I continue to do testings and continue to use it and provide you guys with an update. So that was kind of my summary of this tablet. Now, I still have a major problem with the price, right? So this was not pretty much $1,000, $1,000 for the 256 gigs. So you figure even if you were going for the base model, 128 gigs, that would run you about $800. If you want to buy a pencil, that's about $130, I think. Then you add tax, so you are probably around $900. And when you think about it, the new MacBook Air, the very powerful MacBook Air M1s are out there. They are pretty portable also, and they are pretty much computers. So now, this is just more food for thought. So I'm not saying that this is better because, everyone has a different situation where maybe some people are just looking for portability. So these are just some of the things that you need to think about when buying one of these. Either way, it's an amazing piece of tech. I don't like the price, but it's Apple. Anyways, I hope you found this informative. Of course, I'm going to be pitting this against the Tab S7. The Tab S7 Plus, because I actually even just got the S7 Plus. So I'm going to do against the Tab S7, S7 Plus, the Air 4. So many more videos to come. Just stay tuned, and of course, make sure to hit the links down below to check out the previous videos. I hope you found this informative. Thank you again for hanging with me all the way till the end of this long video. Not sure how long this is. Truly appreciate it. I'm going to catch you in the comment section like I always do, and I'm also going to catch you in the next video. And up until then, of course, as always, please stay safe out there.